welcome. I'm going to go over some helpful tips or things, just some helpful information for the industry. A lot of questions I get asked also. Um, when you to make this streamline a little bit easier when you're going to purchase a car, I can make that time a little bit easier. And one is a lot of banks, and it's the banking part that I want to help you guys out, and what the dealers are thinking about when they're looking at your information. What are they looking for? What can help make this easier? And one is proof of your income. It's a big thing. You're gonna always hear dealers ask for proof of income, and that can be your most recent two pay stubs. It'll show you year-to-date income in there, as well as if you don't have pay stubs, they'll ask for 3-month banking statements. Now, the statements you can go online, generally to any of your banks online, and print out the PDF statement. And thirdly, if you don't have that, and generally if it's entrepreneurs and 1099, they'll ask for your 2-year tax returns. So they want to look at that also. Schedule C. You want to watch your tax returns. A lot of times I tell people the trick on that is how much did you lose, because if you counted off a lot of loss versus profit, that'll affect the amount of income, and they're going to pay attention to that. So you guys just make sure you know those three things when it comes to proof of income. And then you go to your proof of residence. So you also want to make sure proof of residence can be a phone bill, utility bill, water bill, cable bill, something like that. Sometimes they'll take banking statements if it's not used as your income on there. So these are things, proof of income, things you may hear dealers ask for. Streamline, make this thing a little bit easier for you, as well as references. So a lot of times they may ask for 1 or 2 references. If it's second chance financing, a little more subprime lending, you can. It's heard of going 5 plus. I've heard of 10 references. So yes, it is possible they can ask for 10 references, meaning family and friends that you know not living in your residence. They want the full address and the full telephone number on there. So these are things they may ask for from your dealer to make this easy. So just make sure you have those things readily available for you, because it will make it easier if you go to a dealer, or also if you're using Atlanta Car Broker to make the deals for you at dealerships for financing. So that's one key part. Now, obviously, how it works at a bank. Let's say you go to a larger dealership, and this is more so for financing customers versus our cash customers, because it's a little bit easier if you're a cash customer. The process is a lot quicker. It's a lot of different forms that you would have to sign and fill out when you go to the business office, aka the finance office, that you would have to sign versus financing. But if you're financing, let's say you're going in and the dealer has 30 to 40 banks. Now that's a big dealership with that number on there. Well, obviously, if you're prime credit, meaning you could be north of 720, 750, 800 beacons, you can have all 40 of the banks fighting for your business, and all of them want you, depending on what's on the credit. Then as you go south of a 680, 650, 630, then you may go half of that. You have a little less banks that are fighting for your business, because you may not qualify for those banks. Then you go down into your subprime lending, secondary lending, which you can be 500 north or south. Of 600. So you get into your 550s, your 400s, in your credit. Once you get there, you kind of get into your single digits of banks that are willing to take the risk in taking your loan. The good part is there are banks that are still willing to take your loan once you get there. Just make sure all your information has to be critical. And as we said before, obviously proof of income, proof of residence, the references will be key in getting this thing approved and funded. But vehicle selection is very important. Very, very, very important, vehicle selection. And I know people say, what do you mean by that? I look for a 10 grand car, 8 grand car. And that's not what I mean when I'm speaking of vehicle selection. Just to give you a little bit of insight, a lot of times banks have values on cars. Just like you guys go to KBB and look at other things, banks use NADA value. It's other values that they look at to see the value of their car when a dealership is submitting that in. Certain cars have different value. A Kia may have a different value than a Honda. BMWs are different than Mercedes. It all depends on the market, what is happening, what they see deemed in that book as the value of that vehicle. Now, the value can be low versus what the car is said to be retailed for. So if you pick the wrong car, a lot of times that's when you hear dealers ask for a lot more money or more money. A lot of times that could play a key role, because just choosing the wrong vehicle can put you in a bind and make you have to come out with more money out of your pocket just to get in the car that you want. So remember, picking a car is very key. A lot of times you'll see banks tend to like cars that are newer with lower miles. Higher mileage cars, things change, because once again, book values, things are different once you get into older years and higher mileage cars. So they tend to they like the cars with a little lower miles. It helps you with your term. You can extend the term to get the lower payments that customers are looking for. So there are a lot of reasons by making sure you're selecting the right vehicle. And it doesn't mean if you found 4 cars that are 10 grand altogether, guess what? They can be valued 4 different ways to a bank, and out of those 4, all of them are 10 grand, but there's one that really allows you only to put down minimum money down, and get your payment to the right amount. So selecting the vehicle is right. And it's hard to know that at the dealer. Obviously, with Atlanta Car Broker, we kind of go through that and kind of find the right. That's why I feel where our difference is from going to a dealership. They're more hiding it, trying to put you there, and it seems like they're throwing you in the car. But at Atlanta Car Broker, we tend to tell you exactly what it is and why we made that choice. And we'll tell you why the dealership probably or the seller told you you need to go this way. So we like to explain why someone says something versus telling, hey, this is what you have. But you have to be open. I can tell you, if you're second chance financing, definitely be open to the vehicle, because it can make or break you, a deal by choosing the wrong vehicle. So being on the right vehicle is always key. And you guys remember that. So that's just some helpful tips. I'm not going to give you tons, but it's a little helpful tips. It was a great day today, and I want to share some things that my clients have shared with me and questions, and I figured I can share with others that can help. So thank you guys for being with us, Atlanta Car Broker. Come on, log in. Let's start here.